All right, got a number of things today. One of the things I got is this, which, when I got my spark plugs, they really just had this screw on it. They didn't have the end. So, I got 5 of them in case I messed one up. And I got 2 packs of these, which are the spark plug end fittings. So I'm just going to see if these things fit. So let's check it out. So we're going to just open this up. Alright, so hopefully, these are my spark plug wires. So what I want to do is make sure that I'm going to put these in. I'll probably use pliers to tighten that up. Just want to make sure that that fits into this. Perfect. Clicks in really well. So that's 4 of those. So let's go ahead and I got these grommets and these things that go over the hose. So what I'll wind up doing is these things will wind up fitting over the 47 millimeter hose. They stretch out pretty good like this. And then in the tin itself, because I like to have the good close fitting grommets here. So I had done the grommet here for the breather. So these grommets here, now you have to cut out this middle part, but basically if you look closely at this and this 47 millimeter, it looks like that fits through nice and snugly, and then this will go either over it, in some way, or somehow these will meet up, and that will be the end grommet setup for this. So that's what I got. All right, and so since I want to run one tube all the way through without running it through those little connector things, so that I have all those clamps. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to run this hose like this with this top grommet. But this top grommet only sits on top of the tin. It doesn't really connect in. So what I did is I got the exact right size grommet. It's not even a VW product or whatever, but I had to cut out the middle part like this with an X-Acto knife. So I have 2 of these. I'm going to put these in like this. And this should, I think, fit this hose perfectly. We'll see if it actually does. Yeah, it seems really good here in terms of the fit. I'd have to feed this. I'll eventually have to feed this hose all the way through here. That's going to give a nice tight fit like this. So then I have the other side here. So that's the oil, that's the air hose, and I have one more here on this side, which is, I can put that in there. So perfect. Then I have my grommets, my rear engine tin. All right, I got a number of different things in, which are going to be interesting. So I got this pushrod measuring tool. So basically that's going to allow me to, on my push rods, I've got to cut these Mahle pushrod tubes to be the right length. And so this is going to allow me to measure it, where you unscrew this a little bit, and looks like it has roughly the same end here. So we'll be measuring that, and that comes later. So there's that. Then what I got is, I got this set of brake, drum brake setup, but what I really bought that for is for these springs here, because I used these springs on the other linkage as basically throttle linkage. I just bend this around, hook that in, and this becomes my throttle linkage spring. So these were nice tight springs that were about the right size for what I used. So that's why I bought that, and that's pretty cheap spring set. Then what I bought is, I showed before, these grommets here. These grommets, since I had bought these, they don't actually pop into the holes. They just sort of sit on top of it. So unless you have something clamping the hose on there, this grommet just flops around. So what I did is I got a grommet that actually fits into the hole. And then what I noticed I can do is on this hose, the 47 millimeter hose, I actually take one of the grommets that fits into the sheet metal and has that, and then I take one of these grommets, which is the one that sits on top of it, and I tuck this into here, and then this goes in like this. And so I just tuck this into the lip right there. And then this thing, I can use one hose going all the way through, and it's gonna seal really, really nicely. So we'll see how that works when I get there. That's the air hose grommet. Then what I got is, I got two of the Air 2.00 air jets, and I got 1.55 main jets for those. So then when I take these guys here, and I'll do a video when I do this, but I'm going to need a Ziploc to save these guys here. This is a smaller jet, not sure what that is, but these are the defaults that came with the IDF 44s. Then the other thing that I got, so I had been planning on using my pistons like this with the two shims, and I realized like what I really needed once I measured this was 4.36 millimeters on piston 4, 4.24 millimeters on piston 3, 4.15 on piston 2, 4.09 on piston 1. Those are really rough shimming estimates to get the same deck height, 1.5 millimeter deck height. And then what I got are these guys, which are exactly 4.5 millimeter spacers. So when I look at the spacer, and I took this caliper, and when I look at the spacer, they are all exactly 4.5 millimeters. So I have to think about it, because I was looking for a 9.1 compression. If I go with this setup here with a 1.5 deck height, it actually gives me a 9.3 compression. So I'm somewhere between 9.1 compression, probably if I use these spacers, and if I shave them down a little bit, then I'm at 9. I could get it to 9.3. So with my cam, it says it works best up to 9.1. So, but then again, more compression is probably a little bit more power, but might need to use high octane gas or something like that. So, another thing that I got, well, let me go and grab it. So the other thing that I got, and I'm deciding between, is I got a set of these cool tins, and the cool tins, there's a lot of mixed reviews about the cool tins versus these deflector plates. These are 8 millimeter for 8 millimeter studs, and so I have that, so I can use these deflector plates. It goes between the pushrod tubes and the piston on the bottom. And cool tins, You know, these are supposed to cool the outsides of the pistons, in some cases better, but restrict airflow. And the way that I've seen people put those on is punching 2 holes in here and then wiring it with this steel galvanized wire. So I just got this is 19 gauge 50-foot wire, and I would just twist that and hold those on so that they're on there, versus using these. So I'm not 100% sure which I'm going to do yet, but it is interesting to look at these here and see, you know, how does this fit on. So, you know, the 2 pistons, you know, it's what if I put these so that the flat sides face each other. These pistons are going to be next to each other like this. And then the question is, you know, if I use cool tins, we're talking something like this. Put that in there and then basically wrap the wire around the top side of this to lock in these cool tins. Or instead, the alternative is you don't use cool tins. See, the cool tins are supposed to cool the outsides of these pistons better. The alternative is not to use the cool tins, and you use the deflector plates, you know, which go on there basically like this and that. You know, a lot of people say that that's all you need, but it doesn't cool the outsides of this as well, but it also doesn't restrict the airflow coming out of here. So, you know, I'm really gonna just wait until I've got it on, and then I'm gonna see how the cool tins fit and whether I want to use them. So that's basically what I've got in terms of new things. Next video is just going to be swapping out the air and main jets on these 4 and putting them back in on the carburetors here. So, all right, that's that.